Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 25 of The Power of Practice. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about listening more and speaking less and how you can improve your listening skills, something that's really, really important. So once again, welcome to The Power of Practice on Air. I'm your host, Lisa Ingalls. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and a mindset mastery coach. And I'm also the founder of Inner State Coaching, where I help visionary leaders to create radical change in the world by first creating radical change within themselves. You can learn more about me and my services by visiting www.innerstatecoaching.com. And while you're there, you can also pick up my free report on the 5-step practice for creating radical change. So in my 20 years as a coach, it's become very, very clear to me that creating change, creating radical change, being a visionary leader isn't about doing certain things. Rather, it's about doing things in a certain way, which does require some practice, hence the name of the show, The Power of Practice. So in this 20-minute show, what I do is I interview guest experts from across the world on a wide range of topics and in a wide range of fields, from health and personal development to business and everything in between, and ask them all the same question, and that is, what one practice can you share with us that can create a radical breakthrough for you in your health, wealth, happiness, whatever it is? And it's through these practices that you, the viewer, you, the listener, can get the tools that you need, can acquire the tools that you need to turn your stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Now, if you're joining us live today, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Please do let us know that you're here. In the comment box below, say hi. Let us know where you're from. And if you have any questions or comments for myself or my guest, feel free to also put those in. We love the dialogue. We love the engagement. We love the discussion. So we really want to encourage that here in this hangout. So communication is more important than ever before in our high-speed world. We're on the go all the time. We're busy people, right? But most people spend little, if any, time really honing their listening skills. Think about it. Did you go to school and learn listening skills? Probably not. You might even say that true listening has become a rarity, and that people who truly listen, we might think of as having this unusual gift. Well, the fact is that we can learn how to be gifted listeners, and I think that's what you're going to learn today with my guest. Now, as I was preparing for this hangout, I thought, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of research on the statistics about listening. So I'm just going to share a few of them with you because they were really shocking. I found that physicians interrupt 69% of patient interviews within 18 seconds of the patient beginning to speak. And as a result, in 77% of the interviews, the patient's true reason for visiting a physician was never elicited. That's pretty crazy when you think of our healthcare system. Listening has also been identified as one of the top skills that employers seek in entry-level employees, as well as those being promoted. Yet, less than 2% of all professionals have had formal education or learning to understand and improve listening skills and techniques. So I think that this is a very timely topic, and that we can say that becoming a good listener can help to improve our relationships. It can help to solve problems. It can enable deeper understanding and resolve conflicts. So real listening is a very, very valuable resource, I can say, that all of us could use. So in today's episode of The Power of Practice, I'm really excited and happy to have my guest, Heidi Hornline. And she's a friend, a colleague, and my guest. She lives in Umbria, Italy, so she is one of my experts that is all the way across the world from me. And Heidi will be teaching us a connection-creating listening practice. I'm really excited to have her go over that with us. These skills are so important. And it's through this practice that she'll be teaching us that you can move towards a happier, healthier version of yourself in your interactions at home, at work, in the world at large. And just a little bit more about Heidi. She is a licensed Gestalt counselor. She's a transformative leader and coach, and she leads seminars and retreats influenced by the integral worldview of Ken Wilber at Paradiso Integral in Umbria, Italy. So that was a long intro, Heidi, but welcome. I'm so happy to have you here on the show today.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And it's really lovely to be with you on this show. Really, I enjoy it. And the possibility to talk about what is really igniting me, you know, because I have understood that without the listening, without going in receptivity mode, we won't have any possibility to, let's say, save our world. You know, because in our world now everybody wants to do, but they don't even listen. As you said, the doctors, they don't even listen to their patients. They don't even want to know why they are coming. And even in music, you know, you think musicians, I'm also a musician, you think musicians are listening. Yeah, some are, but some are not. And they're really great music, like Glenn Gould, he is listening his music, or Janine Jansen, who is a violinist, they are listening while they are playing and not just doing, you know.
It's such an interesting piece of the communication, because without the listening piece in our communicating, we can't really have true connection with someone, right? It becomes a one-sided, energetic type of thing. And so it sounds obvious. Listening, you have to listen in order to have true connection, in order to establish a sense of understanding and empathy as well.
Absolutely, but most people are not able anymore to listen. They don't even know what it is, you know. When they hear people speaking, they immediately think in their head, oh, this is the argument, I want to say that, and they stop listening.
Why do you think that is? I mean,
Pardon?
why do you think that it is that people are this way and don't listen?
I think it's a little bit our time, you know, where we want to be good in everything and show how good we are. And so we try to go into competition. If somebody says something, I know it better, and the other knows it better. And so we don't take the time to go into listening, co-create the subject, but we just do a fight, you know. When you're not listening, you do.
There's so many examples of this not listening, and I can just say in the space of advertising and marketing, you see a lot of people out there just trying to fire hose you with their ideas and with their thoughts and their agenda without even listening and entering into a discussion, which of course is why I love Hangouts, and what we're doing here in this type of platform is really being able to engage and listen. So those of you out there who are live with us, please do engage. We want to hear what you have to say, right, Heidi?
Yeah, you know, and you don't have to go so outside it. As in your relationships, in your family, with your spouse, the listening skills create connection. If you don't listen, or if you feel not listened to, you feel not appreciated, you feel sort of unseen, and this creates separation, you know. I want to be seen, and if the other doesn't listen to me, automatically we interpret it as he doesn't want me, he doesn't appreciate me, he doesn't whatever, you know.
Absolutely.
And so we draw back. And for me, I have created something which is called conjunctive communication. This is exactly where we use the listening skills, which I want to teach you afterwards, to create the way of communicating with the other, which is the basis being able to listen. One of the bases. There's another important one, but this one is a very, very important one.
And you hit on something very, very important that I just want to reiterate, is that two of our most basic needs are to be seen and to be heard. And that ties into another basic need, is the need to be connected or to feel connected. And when we're not seen and heard, or we don't feel or believe that we're being seen or being heard, that takes us into a place of feeling isolated and alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we could go even further and say unloved and blah blah and not good enough, which brings up our triggers and all of that type of good good stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's
exactly like this. And you know, all these things normally are created in childhood, and our parents didn't really listen to us. Right. They didn't really see who we are. They say, "Do you want? What do you want to play?" And then immediately they come with a thing and say, "Oh, isn't that nice? You could play this now."
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we get our conviction, our beliefs. Nobody's listening to us. Probably I'm not valuable to be listened to, or I'm not good enough, or whatever the false beliefs are. Yeah.
Yeah, and Dave Moore makes a really great point. We should not listen to hear, but listen to understand. I think that's a really great point there as well, which is what you're saying. And I know that you want to share with us a process that will take a few minutes. So is this a good time for you to share the practice/process with us?
I will, and I will do an introduction, because often people think when they are really listening to people, then they have to sort of lean into them and, you know, stay all alert and listen and listen and listen and listen. And when we do this exercise, it's normally of 3 parts. The first part is that the listener doesn't listen, and the second part is when you listen like this, it comes out that who is listened to feels overwhelmed. He feels attacked, or he or she feels attacked, because you are too much leaning into it. And many professionals, also health professionals, psychologists and so on, and I did it before I came across this technique, I thought this was listening. Really, everything, every attention on the other person, but it's overwhelming the other person. So I will offer another technique, which is, let's say, in 3 steps, and I would invite you in the first step, everybody, to close the eyes and get connected to their own breath. If it's possible for you, wherever you are, maybe not in the car, wouldn't be a good place to close the eyes, but close the eyes and listen to yourself. Listen to your breathing, to your body, and feel into your body. Feel even the feet, how are they, the legs, the butt we are sitting on, your belly, your spine, your arms, your head. How is it? How does it feel like? Listen to yourself. And then you find a point, a place into yourself, which you could call your center. Normally, probably it's a little bit underneath the belly button, inside of you. Try to feel into it. And if you don't feel it, and just now imagine it, where it might be. And direct your breathing to this point. And do natural breaths, but to this point, reaching this center of yours, and get very familiar with this center of yours until you feel that you are dropping down into your center. That it becomes really, really your center. And maybe this takes a little time for many people who are not used to meditation. So take enough time then until the moment where you really think, oh, here is my center, and I can center myself in this place. And keep my awareness in this place as long as possible. So when you now open your eyes, keep a part of your attention in this place. And now you can use me as you are watching me. Feel into the space which is between me and you. See and feel this space between me and you. And often it's a feeling like an opening up. The more you are used to meditation, the more easy it is, but everybody can learn that. Imagine that there is a field between me and you and sense into it. Why you don't lose the awareness of your center. And then, as the third step, you listen to what I say. You watch me, whatever I do, my eyes, you can watch into my eyes, whatever, and try to understand what I say. But the first attention is on yourself, on your body, on your center. The second attention is on the field between us. And only the third attention is on me, or on the person you are listening to. And note what it does with you. You won't lean into the person, you won't go there, but you keep a sort of posture inside of yourself. You are still you. You have a certain distance, and this field of communication, this is the field of connection which is between you. You can even create it more intense. There are people with whom it is immediately this space, and there are people with whom it is a little bit difficult to create this space. But you just open yourself up and allow this field to arise between you. You sense into the quality of this field. Is there friendliness? Is there welcoming receptivity from the other part? What are they up to? And then you begin to listen. And the experience is that the person which is listened to in this way feels seen, feels heard, and feels appreciated, and feels free to express themselves. The experience is then in this space, a co-creation happens. The person can think of thoughts they had never thought before, In this listening space, real conversation can happen, and when real conversation happens, the feeling of connecting happens. I don't know how far we can do that here on the virtual space.
Yeah,
but
it's really I can speak to my experience of it, and those of you who are live, I would love for you to type in what maybe your experience was just in that moment of what Heidi shared with us. But I can tell you from my experience of really letting myself go there is, I think you already said it, was a sense of spaciousness and quieting. Like I felt quieted, that I was present. I guess the same word for that would just be I was in the present moment. I wasn't thinking about what I need to do after this or what I did before. I was really present when I did that. And what's interesting to me about this is if you practice it, which we're encouraging here because this show is the power of practice, it doesn't take long to get to that space. But so here's what I want to ask you, Heidi, is say you're in the workplace. You're with your spouse, you're with whoever, a best friend or something, and you want to create this environment that nurtures listening in the way that you're talking about. How do you do that when maybe the other person doesn't know this particular technique, or can you do it?
Yeah, that's not so important that the other, if they know it or not, because it depends on you. You are creating this calmness in yourself, and this calmness will affect the other person. When you are really calm and centered in yourself and sensing and opening the welcoming space to the other person, they more likely than not will come into it, you know. We are influencing each other in all ways, and when we emanate this positive energy, the other one can run away, yes, but they are also invited to join in and change their maybe angry or whatever behavior, because as soon as you address a person with a, you see it every day, when you say friendly to a person you have never seen, hello, how are you, or something, they will, oh, hello, no? And there is a little bit of lighting up. You have the power to drag the other person into the space you are creating. And you are creating, first of all, the space in yourself where you can live. So in the workspace or in the space with your partner, never lose the contact with yourself. This is the first thing. And with yourself, I mean not in the thoughts, but really in the feeling. Your center. Where's my center? Some people use their feet, becoming aware all the time of their feet. This is good too, you know, because they are grounded in the earth. You can play a little bit with that, but keep a part of your attention all the time in your body. And you will see when you are getting excited and so on, this gets a little bit lost, but you can really practice that to be more in your body. And things happen, you know, you will walk differently when you are conscious of your body, when you are living in your body, and many other things happen like miracle, but they are not miracles. It's only because you are living in your home, which is your body.
Yeah, and I love that this practice is very different from other listening practices that I've done and worked with, where what you're actually sharing is truly listening, meaning, I'm going to actually share because I think this is a great one. David Moore says, again, the letters in the word listen also spell the word silent. I think that I love those little things, and I think that's true, that what you're sharing, Heidi, is just being silent and being in the space, whereas other listening practices I've practiced before are actually how you communicate back that you have listened and heard what the other person is saying, but that's a whole other thing.
This comes later, you know. Yes. Then you can, if the person hasn't got it by your energy, then you can reframe what they have said, and this is often very good, but this is later in the process. First, really centered and listen, be in yourself, be in the moment, and just listen. And not while, for instance, a client, you know, when they talk to you about their things, and normally you run away, oh, this could be that and this could be that, you begin interpretation. No, listen, and listen also to your body, what your body is answering in consequence of what you are hearing, you know. So
I love it. I love it. I love that you can actually do this practice anywhere, anytime, with anyone, and they wouldn't even know that you're doing it with them. Why not? Why not try that and see how it affects you? Yeah, wonderful. Well, hopefully that everybody here was able to drop into that and get a sense of the power of that listening practice that Heidi just shared with us. And Heidi, how can people find out more about you and the work that you do?
Our website about relationships is called thepowerofrelationship.com. About the communication practices, I have created one, but it is in German, but with Google Translator, more or less you get it. It is called conjunctivecommunication.com. And I begin there I want actually to interact. I want to listen to people who write to me and want to interact with them about this communication. So I began with the first, it is a blog actually, with the first entries, and I'm waiting, and I'm very happy if you come and contribute. You can write even in English. I mean, that's no problem.
Yeah, I love it. And just to let everybody know, Heidi's very active here in Google Plus and has her own Hangout on Air show, which is called
Connections at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, and we will do another show starting in September. That will be the Wisdom Factory, where we will integrate all these topics inside the integral worldview. So
awesome. So you have many places that you can find Heidi and reach out to Heidi if you're interested to learn more about what she does and her programs and services. I know at some point I want to get over to Umbria, Italy to your retreat center. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah, we are doing a retreat for men and women about these communication skills in September. So who wants to plan holidays to Italy in September, the end 24th, I guess it's beginning. You are very welcome to come.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Heidi, for being here today, being the guest on this episode of The Power of Practice. Actually, I realize it's episode number 25, so we're a quarter of a century into our talk about it in that term. So it's been wonderful to have you here, and so delighted to bring you on and have you share that very, very powerful practice with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a joy.
Yes. And to all of you out there who showed up live, thank you so much for your comments, your interaction. We really appreciate it. If you're watching again in review, in the replay, still feel free to add comments, because Heidi and I will get those comments. We'll be able to continue this discussion, stay engaged with you, and hear, listen to what it is that you have to say. So it is my belief, it is my real belief, that each of us is capable of radical transformation, and it's just that sometimes we don't have the tools, we don't have the resources that we need in order to do that, and that's what this show is all about. And so hopefully you can walk away from today with this listening practice and go ahead and use that successfully in your life right away. And just as a final reminder, you can visit me over at www.innerstatecoaching.com to download your free report and to learn more about my programs and services. So we will see you all next time, everybody. Take care.